Strap yourselves in, folks. Get ready for a learning experience. Essentially, I'm going to be talking about video games that have sci-fi premises that allow you to visit places around the solar system, around the galaxy, or planets that could possibly be realistic. But that's all wrong. And the reason is kind of surprising. It's jumping. Jumping. Essentially, what you just saw was our research. The research that we did to prove the point that it's the same no matter where you go in the universe. In games, at least. See, in games, you kind of have to keep everything stable, or the same. If you just changed everything depending on where you went, it would confuse a lot of people. But, see, it's not how it would work in our universe. In our universe, if you went to the moon, it would be a lot different from when you were on Earth. It just wouldn't make any sense. Essentially, the videos were our data, and the data we needed was mainly distance and time. So we needed to get the height of the characters you just saw, and the time that it took for them to fall at their greatest jump height. It took a while to get, but eventually we got it, and with a few transparent images, we got a pretty good idea of height, and to see how long they fell. Essentially, it was pretty easy for what we had to do. All we had to find is the height and time. Height being how far the characters would fall, and time for how long they fell for. It's a pretty simple equation for most in physics. Velocity over time equals acceleration, and in this case, acceleration would be acceleration due to gravity, which if you know planet Earth, the acceleration due to gravity is 9.81 meters per second. If we find that for each of the time trials that we tried, then we can find out what the acceleration due to gravity is in Destiny and Destiny 2. Pretty simple stuff. Time was the easiest to find, mostly because all it is trying to find how far the character will fall. It's easy because I have a computer which can time it for me, and about the time every time is about a half a second. Half a second, or about 53rd of a second. Using this for our equation, and then getting the height, which I'll get into right now, we can easily get the acceleration due to gravity. Height was tricky, mainly because there is no raw data on how tall things are. There are a few mentions here and there in the game, but there really isn't anything. However, a post from Bungie, the creator of Destiny and Destiny 2, say that all character heights are around 1.88 meters. So we're just going to have to use that as a reference. It's the easiest to use mainly because then we can figure out things from there. Transparent images will show us that the jump height at the topmost layer is a little bit over their heads. And when I say a little bit, I mean actually kind of a lot. It's definitely not 2 meters, so I had to round it up to about 2.1 meters, as you will probably see. So the characters fall for 2.1 meters over around half a second, or 53rd of a second. Putting that into an equation, dividing them, you can get a pretty steady answer, which is the same for all of Destiny's planets and Destiny 2's planets and moons. Putting our stuff into our equation, our numbers, I shouldn't say stuff, that's not very scientific, I get an average of about 3.96 meters per second, meaning that it falls about 4 meters every second that it's still falling. Is that close to any planets, though? It's close, but it's definitely not to any that we really studied. From doing research online, I found that the closest it would be is Mercury, around 3.7 meters per second. It's 3.7, and this is around 4. So it's a little faster than Mercury. So that would mean all the planets would be slightly larger than Mercury. Mars is slightly larger than Mercury, and that's also pretty close. So each planet in Destiny and Destiny 2 are close to being Mars. But that doesn't make any sense, since we're talking Earth, Mars, the Moon, Venus, Titan, and a bunch of other planets and moons. They aren't the same size as Mars. None of them are, well, except Mars. And the other rocky planets, excluding Mercury. But none of them are the same. So it kind of shows that it would be the same in games, but not in real life, which is, you know, kind of interesting to both us astronomers and to gamers. I should say I'm the gamer, but what are you gonna do, right? So, if a video game had to be, you know, realistic enough, you'd expect to be falling a lot faster on Earth than you would on the Moon. And it would be a lot different on Mars or another planet like, well, a moon like Titan. Titan's is actually quite small, about 1.35 meters per second. That's pretty ridiculous. Or at least to me, I think it's pretty ridiculous. Io's even worse, about 0.7 of a second. What are you gonna do, right? Video games have to be video games somehow, and they gotta be fun. Not realistic, well, most of the time. If you want to include Farming Simulator, but... I hope you understood and liked this analysis video. I hope it wasn't too long and too boring. But I just want to let you know all the work that we put into it. Me and my cousin Erik tried our best, and I tried my best to edit this video in the best way I possibly could. Our process wasn't too bad. I recorded what we did mostly for the getting the data and then me trying to find some specifics. It wasn't hard to do, but it took quite a while, and this project took about 2 days to do. But it's for astronomy, so I'm happy with it. So thank you, and enjoy the sped up footage that I have for you. See you guys later.